Jai Hind, Namaste, hello and a very warm welcome to UPSC for everyone. My name is Abhinav and in this video we'll be discussing the selected topics from Hindu and Indian Express for the date 7th of October 2020. Now in this video we'll be discussing the following topics. The Nobel Prize in Physics 2020, so very exciting news. This is about black holes, so I will be explaining what are black holes, what is event horizon, what is singularity. So we'll be looking at black holes as well along with this news. Then COVID management protocol on Ayurveda and yoga. So this is basically to manage the COVID-19 for asymptomatic people and also for general population to prevent getting the infection. So this is a combination of exercises and some herbs that you can take to boost your immunity and also help yourself. So this is not mandatory, it's just a protocol. So we'll see what this is all about. Then government clears 11,000 crore of PLI proposals by Apple vendors and others. Very, very important news. We have discussed this twice already. So we discussed earlier how Apple vendors are looking to invest $9 million in India. Now this entire scheme has the potential of $163 billion in future. So we'll see what this PLI scheme is all about and how many players are coming and what kind of functions would they be doing in India. This scheme is both for mobile manufacturers and makers of electronic components, and this could really give a fillip to electronics manufacturing sector in India. Services PMI shows slump easing but job losses swell. So if you remember, we discussed about manufacturing PMI. So this is by the same institution, but this is for services sector. So we'll see what this PMI is all about and what is this news all about. Then Kyrgyzstan cancels poll result after night of chaos. So we'll see what happened in Kyrgyzstan, which players are involved and what is happening now. So these are all the things we'll be discussing. This is going to be a short video, very good news for all of you. Now let's get started. Nobel Prize in Physics 2020. So this year's Nobel has gone to a team of 3 people. Yesterday we discussed about Nobel Prize in Medicine, right? And tomorrow we'll be discussing about Nobel Prize in Chemistry. And Nobel Prize in Chemistry has gone to a team of 2 women. Exciting news this year because even in this physics team there's a woman, right? And this is a field where there are less of women. We also did a news about promoting women in science in India, right? If you remember. And we have also discussed the gene editing technique in earlier videos. So this year's Nobel Prize in Chemistry has gone to a team of 2 women who have made contributions in the field of gene editing. So we'll be discussing that tomorrow. Now let us see this. Now why I said this is very, very exciting because this year's Nobel Prize in Physics has gone to a team that has proved beyond doubt that black holes exist, right? It was Einstein who first postulated the presence of black holes in his general theory of relativity, but he himself did not believe that they could actually exist. But this person, Mr. Roger Penrose, he proved using ingenious mathematical model that black holes exist, and he also told us how the black holes act. At the center of a black hole, there is a singularity. Now singularity is a place, you could say, where all the laws of physics, they just go bonkers. If some of you might have seen that movie Interstellar, if you remember, they go for interstellar travel, right? And they do so through bypassing a black hole. If you remember, they have beautifully explained, like that is one of the movies that is very, very close to science, and they have beautifully explained the concept of a black hole. So if you want to imagine, the black hole is a 3D object. It is just like a planet. So it is not a 2D thing. It is a 3D object like a planet if you want to visualize it. And its outer edge is called event horizon. Now event horizon is a place where or as a matter of fact, the black hole is something where the gravity is so dense that even light cannot escape the black hole. And the event horizon is the point from where it all starts, that from this point light cannot escape out of black hole. So very, very important because this has implications in many other fields. So now let us look at their contributions. Now I've already told you about what Mr. Roger Penrose did. Now Reinhard Genzel and Andrea Ghez, they both ran different teams and they used the largest telescope in the world, and they focused on a place called Sagittarius A, which is the center of our Milky Way galaxy, and they postulated that it is also a black hole, and they proved that it is a black hole, and because of that our Milky Way galaxy has a swirl characteristics. It slowly it is rotating around this center point, our entire galaxy. So we'll just see that. So this is about the Nobel Prize in Physics. Now let us look at this news. So Roger Penrose, for the discovery that black holes formation is a robust prediction of the general theory of relativity. His 1965 paper is considered to be one of the most important papers in the general theory of relativity, only after Einstein's work. Reinhard Genzel and Andrea Ghez, for the discovery of a supermassive compact object at the center of our galaxy. 3 laureates share this year's Nobel Prize in Physics for their discoveries about one of the most exotic phenomena in the universe, the black hole. Now what is a black hole? So this is the whole illustration depicting a black hole. See, this is a 3D thing like a planet. This is black hole. This is singularity, where all the laws of physics and all the laws of nature go bonkers. And this is event horizon. This is the starting point from where even light can't escape. And this is the accretion disk. Like I told you how the Milky Way is swirling. So it swirls like this, right? So what is a black hole? The term black hole refers to a point in space where matter is so compressed as to create a gravity field from which even light cannot escape. Roger Penrose used ingenious mathematical methods in his proof that black holes are a direct consequence of Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. Einstein did not himself believe that black holes could really exist. Roger Penrose proved that black holes really can form and described them in detail. At their heart, black holes hide a singularity in which all known laws of nature cease. And the time also comes to halt in this black hole. We always say that time never stops, but this is one place in universe where even time ceases, and that is the black hole. His groundbreaking article is still regarded as one of the most important contributions to the general theory of relativity since Einstein. Reinhard Genzel and Andrea Ghez each led a group of astronomers that, since the early 1990s, has focused on a region called Sagittarius A at the center of our galaxy. Using the world's largest telescopes, they discovered an extremely heavy, invisible object, around 4 million times greater than the mass of the Sun. So just imagine the magnanimity of scale that pulls on surrounding stars, giving the galaxy its characteristic swirl. You can take this screenshot. I have, like yesterday's video, I have got it from the Nobel website only. So 2020 Nobel Prize again. See, now this is singularity and this is event horizon, the point at which gravity is strong enough that even light can't escape, and singularity, the density and gravity become infinite and time stops. So there is always an exception in the world, and in case of a singularity, even time stops. Now see, this is the swirl I was talking about. So this is just like Diwali firecracker, right? So this is spinning like this because this is the center, that is the black hole, and it is slowly pulling all the mass towards itself, and that is what is giving it a swirling characteristic. Now why does this research matter? The work of this year's winners has provided evidence for the existence of black holes. It also raises further unanswered questions about black hole structure and how they match theoretical predictions. The research into black hole could actually open so many doors as far as human civilization is concerned, but we have to tread carefully and we have to learn what it is so that we can take our civilization forward. Trouble in Kyrgyzstan. Now Kyrgyzstan is a Central Asian country. In fact, it is the only Central Asian country which is a democracy. Now what happened, that there were parliamentary polls in Kyrgyzstan, and the party which won was the party belonging to the incumbent president, Mr. Suronbay Jinbekov, right? Now, you might say, what is the issue? Okay, they have won, but there were large-scale accusations and reports that the votes have been bought and the elections were rigged. So the people, they broke out in protest and there were riots throughout the night. So ultimately, the Election Commission of Kyrgyzstan, it declared that they will be annulling the results of this election. So probably we'll see another election soon. And then there is again a Russian angle and a Chinese angle, because both of them have heavily invested in this country and both of them have stakes. So this is also a kind of a turf war between China and Russia. Now let us see what happened. The results of a disputed parliamentary vote sparked a tumultuous night of protests and clashes in the capital Bishkek. So Kyrgyzstan capital Bishkek, with protesters seizing government buildings and freeing high-profile politicians including ex-president Almazbek Atambayev. Now, what is the problem with the election results? Like I told you, the results saw parties close to pro-Russian president Soronbay Jeenbekov score big wins amid accusations of mass vote buying campaigns. So what next then? Kyrgyzstan electoral body said it was cancelling the results of a disputed parliamentary vote, which plunged the country into political chaos and violence. Now, what is the significance of Kyrgyzstan? Russia views the former Soviet Republic as part of Kremlin's historical orbit. So for Russia, it is a sphere of influence. Kyrgyzstan, like much of Central Asia, feels the competing pressures from Moscow and Beijing, because Central Asia is a very, very important region geostrategically, and Kyrgyzstan is also a very important part of Central Asia. So both China and Russia are trying to influence this country. And Central Asian region in general is very rich in natural resources, and it is also gateway to market for both Russian, Chinese, and even India is trying to make inroads into Central Asia. And one of the biggest problems that we have into getting into Central Asia is that we are surrounded by Pakistan and Afghanistan. So we don't have direct access. That is why we were trying to build Chabar port and then Delaram Zaranj road running from Afghanistan to provide us access to Central Asia. Now that project has taken somewhat a backseat in light of the recent events, but I'm sure that we will soon revive that project. Anyways, getting back to it, Russia maintains an air base in Kyrgyzstan, a key foothold after the country's parliament in 2014 ordered the United States to close a base used for logistics and refueling. So Russia is having more influence here. Now this is Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan sharing border with China, then Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. So it is for all practical purposes right in the middle of Central Asian region. So that is why it is very, very important. Now let us move to the next. Services PMI shows slump easing but job losses swell. So if you remember, we discussed about manufacturing PMI 3-4 videos back, and I told you it is a index with 50 as the midpoint. It is a monthly index and 50 is the midpoint. That means if the score is 50, that means no growth, right? And no loss. But if it's beyond 50, that means growth. And if it is less than 50, that means there is contraction, right? So as we have manufacturing PMI, we also have services PMI by the same agency, market, right? Now the manufacturing PMI is based on survey of 500 private manufacturing units. Now the services PMI is based on the survey of 350 private service units, right? Again, it has the same principle. 50 means no loss, no gain. More than 50 means generally growth. Less than 50 means generally contraction. So what has happened that it has increased from about 42 to 49, close to 50. So the contraction has narrowed down and soon we could see it going beyond 50. That means in the territory of growth. So let us see now what the news is saying. The pace of contraction in services sector activity eased considerably in September after the government lifted some COVID-19 restrictions, according to a business survey, that is the IHS Markit. But demand continued to shrink, prompting firms to cut more jobs. If you remember, in that news, we discussed that the cut in jobs in manufacturing was because of social distancing norms, right? But here they are saying that demand is shrinking. That is why jobs are being cut. The Nikkei IHS Market Service Purchasing Managers Index bounced to 49.8 in September from August's 41.8, a touch below the 50 mark that separates expansion from contraction on a monthly basis. I've already told you this. The services sector accounts for about 55% of India's economy and almost a third of its job. That is why this survey is important, and that is the importance of services sector in India. Now, what is services PMI? The IHS Markit India Services PMI Purchasing Managers Index is based on data compiled from monthly replies to questionnaires sent to purchasing executives in around 350 private sector service companies. The index tracks variables such as sales, employment, inventories, and prices. A reading above 50 indicates that the services sector is generally expanding. Below 50 indicates that it is generally declining. I've already discussed all of this with you. So this is all about the PMI, and let us hope that soon this PMI for the month of October, it reaches beyond 50 so that we see growth in services as well. Government clears 11,000 crore of PLI proposals by Apple vendors and others. If you remember, we have already discussed this PLI scheme twice, and I've told you the importance of this scheme, and three of the biggest vendors of Apple, including Foxconn and Winstron, they are also looking to come and invest in India. Now they have been given the permission, and their investment proposal was for $9 million. Now this entire PLI scheme has a potential of creating $163 billion, right? And this is for the next 5 years, that these manufacturers who would be coming to India and setting up shop, they would get a rebate of 4 to 6% in their taxes. That is a big draw for them. And if you remember that India recently has also liberalized the labor laws, so that will also help these companies set up their shops soon in India. Now 60% of the production would go out, and the government is saying that almost 2 lakh direct jobs would be created over next 5 years. So this is a good initiative. This scheme has two components. One is for mobile manufacturers and other is for electronics manufacturers. And in the light of companies looking to exit China, India is trying all it can to project itself as a very lucrative and attractive destination. Not just mobile makers, even gaming companies like Nintendo are looking to shift out of China. So there is a very big opportunity for India to cash on, right? So I will also tell you again about the PLI scheme, and let us see what is this article is saying. Projects to generate almost 2 lakh direct jobs over the next 5 years, says mighty Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. The Ministry of Electronics and IT said that it had approved 16 proposals by electronics manufacturers, including Foxconn, Samsung, Lava, Micromax, entailing an investment of 11,000 crore under its Production Linked Incentive Scheme (PLI) scheme. Out of these, 3 companies, namely Foxconn, Winstron, and Pegatron, are contract manufacturers of Apple iPhones. And Apple has also started its own production line in India. So we could see the major chunk of Apple and its suppliers shifting to India, setting up shop. And Foxconn is also looking at an investment of around $1 billion for its Chennai plant. So good things will come in future because of all the reforms that are being taken. But the onus is on to us to take these proposals to their logical conclusion. Apple has a market share of 37% and Samsung 22%, together account for nearly 60% of global sales revenue. Now this is in terms of revenue minded, not sales volume, of mobile phones, and this scheme is expected to increase their manufacturing base manifold in the country. The selected manufacturers are expected to generate rupees 10.5 lakh crore worth of total production, of which 60% would be exported. Out of the total, production of 9 lakh crore is expected from handset markers alone. Domestic value addition is expected to grow from current 15 to 20% to 35 to 40% in case of mobile phones, and 45 to 50% for electronic components. So this is a very, very good scheme, provided it plays off and Government of India plays all its cards right. Now what is the PLI scheme? The Production Linked Incentive Scheme is to boost large-scale electronics manufacturing in country as part of Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. So see, everything is related. This scheme in conjunction with the labor reforms, and then we also have signed this dispute redressal, the Singapore Convention. So all of these will come together to help India make a manufacturing hub, which is very, very important for our economy, because our economy directly skipped the second step of economic growth. Basically what happens, from agriculture you go to manufacturing and then you go to services. But unfortunately in India we never could consolidate our manufacturing sector. We directly jumped to services, and just in the previous article I told you that 55% of GDP and one third of our economy is coming from the services sector. But manufacturing has to play a very, very important role in any economy. See, at any big economy, they have large scale per capita income because of this manufacturing alone. Because if you remember, we discussed about China, but despite all its growth, China risks being stuck in middle income range. That means it will never be that rich as compared to the rich countries because of this problem only, right? So we need to work really hard to increase our manufacturing sector. The scheme extends an incentive of 4 to 6% on incremental sales over base year of goods under target segments that are manufactured in India to eligible companies for a period of 5 years subsequent to the base year, financial year 2019-20. I've already told you this. Over the next 5 years, the approved companies under the PLI scheme are expected to lead to total production of more than 10,50,000 crore rupees. So very, very good scheme, and this seems to be taking off. COVID management protocol on Ayurveda Yoga. So Government of India has come out with a national protocol for Ayurveda and yoga to deal with COVID problem. Now, first of all, let me make it clear, this is not to cure COVID, right? This is just for preventive purposes. So this is about exercising and then taking the medicinal herbs that are prescribed in Ayurveda to help you manage with COVID. And this will basically help you to prevent from getting an infection, and also those who are having mild symptoms or those who are asymptomatic. But in no way this is a cure or a treatment for COVID. So please do not get it wrong in your head. Now let us look at what the protocol is all about. The national protocol says that the detailed recommendations are based on 3 aspects: empirical evidence and biological plausibility, emerging trends of ongoing clinical studies, and knowledge from Ayurveda classics and experience from clinical practices. So this is a mixture or a fusion of East and West, that they are mixing the clinical practices and the results that are coming out from clinical studies, and they are implementing them with Ayurveda and yoga. Now, what is this protocol for? It is for the management of coronavirus infection for asymptomatic patients and those showing mild symptoms, including management of post-COVID complications with the use of traditional medicinal herbs. Because some patients are showing very, very adverse post-COVID complications. So again, I'm telling you, please take precautions. We all have that thinking that it cannot hit us and we can't be the one going through such things, but life can hit anyone at any point of time. So it's better to take precautions. Now, is this protocol mandatory? No. The protocol states that it is only a general advisory and that the attending physicians need to use their discretion to select the drugs based upon the stage of disease, symptom complex, and availability of the medicines. So it is not mandatory. There is no pushing of any sort of treatment system on anybody. What does it cover? It covers both preventive and prophylactic measures. Now, preventive and prophylactic measures are almost the same thing. In preventive measures, it is more about lifestyle changes, and prophylactic measures is also for preventing diseases, but here you take herbs and medicines. So what are the recommendations? For preventive care, it recommends loosening exercises, breathing exercises, pranayama and kriya as part of yoga protocol for primary prevention of COVID-19. Now prophylactic measures are for frontline workers and those who are exposed to the disease. It states that these have to be practiced to improve respiratory and cardiac efficiency, reduce stress and anxiety, and to enhance immunity. As prophylactic care for the high-risk population and primary contacts, the protocol recommends the medicinal herbs in different combinations for different categories of people. For example, for the high-risk population in primary contact, it talks about ashwagandha and gudichi ghana vati. So it has given different formulations for different type of people or in different categories. So if you're interested, you can go on their website and you can read the detail, but no point discussing that here, right? So this is about the national protocol on yoga and Ayurveda for COVID.